Doing well this morning. Thank you for joining us here at Stick Mobility Headquarters for our live streaming 30-minute class. Just a few things to go over before we start. Since you're at home, please make sure you're in your bare feet. We want to make sure that those feet are alive and awake right now. Also, do me a favor, if you have a chair or a workout bench, go ahead and make sure that's handy and nearby. And we're going to be doing some half kneeling positions, so you may want a knee pad, something to kneel on. We're going to be using a single 6-foot stick this morning. For some of you who are taller or have longer arm spans, when we go into our hanging, the 6-foot stick may be a little bit too short for you. A very easy way to take care of that is by having a chair or a bench next to you. Right here, I've already added an additional foot of length onto that stick. So that's another reason why to have a chair or a bench handy for you right now. Some other things to remember here. Make sure we don't move anything into a point of pain. So if you're going through any of these movements and you start to experience some pain, just back it off a little bit, either with the intensity or the angle or range of motion that you're going into. Some of you also may experience some cramping during any of these movements. That's perfectly fine. It's you applying some force in some positions that you haven't had to do before. Simply just back out of it for a little bit, let the tissues relax, and then join back in whenever you're feeling ready. You also can take a break whenever you want to. I'm going to go straight through for the 30 minutes. This material is going to be posted, so don't freak out. This will be available for you to reference back to at any time. So if you feel like you need to take a break, grab some water, feel free to do so. For those of you who have heart rate monitors, click those things on and take an eye and track and see where your heart rate goes. I think a lot of people will be surprised at how their variability in their heart rate goes up and down and what kind of levels they get to, especially when we get into the strength training this morning. Alrighty? And with that, let's get started. The very first thing we're going to do is we're going to get those feet waking up, but we're going to connect them to the hands. So we're going to set our feet about hip width apart. Place the stick at 3 o'clock, so it's right outside your right midfoot. We're going to reach up with that right hand. We're going to grab that stick with what we call a rope grip. Take your left hand and bring it across and grab the stick at about sternum level and just hang. We're taking the weight onto the arm. That left hand is there to reassure you that that stick is going to hold your weight. Once your peace of mind is there, that stick is going to hold, then just simply go ahead and let go with the left hand. From here, what we're going to simply do is bring our toes up into extension. Some of us don't like to get those toes into extension, but the big toe is directly connected to the glutes. So if we want to be able to really create more power and more efficiency out of the glutes, we have to be able to get those toes into extension. And we're going to decelerate down, and we're going to drive back up again. Breathe. Remember, we're still hanging on that right arm. Down slow. Let's go one more. Coming back up. Breathe. If you need that other hand there for a bit of added stability, go ahead and keep that there. And then down slow. Let's go ahead and switch sides. So now we're moving the stick to 9 o'clock. Reach up with the left hand, rope grip. Right hand over and elevate up. We're hanging. You can release the right and relax. Nice. Now, let's get those shoulders moving a little bit. Place the stick parallel to the floor, sternum level. Set your feet a little wider than hip width apart and tuck that pelvis head up. From here, what we're going to do is we're going to start to kayak. Your arms should be straight right now. Breathe. Keep your head looking downriver. Your elbows stay straight. You want to feel this rolling through your shoulder blades. You should feel the front arm line gliding, activating, and shortening the stick. If you look at the ends of the stick, you should see a nice big circle. Now reverse. Breathe. Keep your hips still. Keep looking straight down river. You should feel the back of your arm line lengthening and pulling the stick apart right now. Once again, keep those elbows straight. We want the shoulder blades to be doing the moving here. And relax. Okay, now let's get those hips waking up a little bit. Take your feet about hip width apart. We're going to place the stick right inside the right instep. Right hand is going to be about eyeball level right now. Let's push the stick into the floor about 30% tension, and we're going to hinge. We're going to drive the hips straight backwards. So as I hinge backwards, the lower leg bone stays centered, and you can see I have an angle, a soft angle at the knee. From here, shift your hips to the right. You're going to feel that stretch out on that right lateral hip. Now, shift your hips to the left. As you shift your hips to the left, you feel that chain reaction all the way into that right shoulder. Shift your hips right. Shift your hips left. You're going to feel the femurs, or the head of the femurs, moving around in the hip socket. Right. Left. So this is an active warm-up. We're making sure that we get all the tissues warmed up. Back to center and drive up. Let's switch sides. Stick is in the left hand, inside the left instep. Give me 30% tension and hinge. Breathe. And now push your hip out to the left. And now push your hip to the right. Left. Right. Left. Right. One more. Left. Right. Excellent. Now, let's hit this whole anterior line all the way from the front of the hip, all the way up to the front of the neck. Take the stick, bring your feet about 4 or 5 inches apart from each other. Let's place the stick at 12 o'clock, bottom of the stick slightly angled towards you. The hands are going to be just about chest level. Take the top of that left foot and extend it back and place it on the floor. If you get some cramping in the bottom of the foot, which some of you might get, go ahead, just ease out of it, move the ankle around a little bit, and then go back into it. From here, let's push the stick into the floor, about 30% tension, just nice and light. We're going to squeeze this glute, this left glute right now, and we're going to tuck the pelvis. We're going to go posterior tuck. What I mean by that is if we imagine we have a red line drawn from about the pubis area to the sternum, we're trying to shorten that line. We're trying to decrease the length. We don't want to increase the length of that line. So shorten that little red line from the pubis bone to the sternum right now. And now let's look up at the ceiling. Pull your neck into extension. And as you push your hip, it posteriorly tuck the pelvis and pull your neck into extension, you should feel that radiate all the way from the front of the neck, all the way down to the top of that left foot. Breathe, ease off, and again, squeeze the glute, posterior pelvic tuck, pull your neck into extension, ease off, and one more. Remember, we want to make this a little more dynamic because we're not doing static right now because we're about to go into some strength training after this. Let's switch sides and also switch hand position. Don't always keep putting the same hand on top. Let's take that right foot, extend it back. Push the stick into the floor, about 30% tension. Squeeze this right glute, posterior pelvic tuck. Pull your neck into extension. When you pull the neck into extension, do not lengthen that red line. Keep the red line a little bit connected, shorten it. Breathe, ease off, and again. Ease off, and one more. Ease off. Nice, good. Now let's hit the lateral line tissues. Our reverse bow and arrow. We're going to set our feet nice and wide, a little wider than hip width apart. Let's place the stick at 3 o'clock. We're going to move the stick a good distance away from us. Let's say about a foot, foot and a half. Angle the top of the stick towards you. Bring the left hand over the tops of the palms facing forward. When we're getting the lateral tissue line, make sure your hips are facing forward. Do not let them rotate. Take that right hand. We're grabbing right above where the sticker is. Push your hip out to the side first. So you're pushing your hip out to 9 o'clock. Now take that right hand and pull the elbow in towards your hip. So you're flexing this tissue line and you're actively extending the left tissue. Breathe. Let your head tilt also. Ease off. Exhale as you pull in. So your top hand, your left hand, should be pushing. Your right arm is pulling. Ease off. One more. And relax. Let's switch sides. Stick is at 9 o'clock. Move that about a foot and a half away from you. Top of the stick is angled in. Reach over the top with the right hand. Grab right above where the sticker is with the left. Push your hip out to 3 o'clock first. And now pull that elbow in towards your left hip. You're going to feel those left lateral tissues flex and your right lateral tissues lengthen. Try to keep those ribs down. So make sure that center, that little red line in the front is a little shorter. And relax. If you're not feeling it in the lateral tissues, check your hip position also, because rotation will take you out of those lateral tissue lines. Now, let's open up the anterior hips and the torso and get the spine opened up. So we're going to bring our feet close together. We're going to place the stick at 3 o'clock again. Let's bring the hand right about top of the head level. We're going to step back with the right foot. Give me 30% tension, pushing the stick into the floor. Keep your back heel elevated right now. So the back toes are in extension, as you can see. We're going to push the stick into the floor about 30% tension. And now pull that arm back, the right arm, and sink your way forward onto this left leg and straighten the right knee. Breathe. And reach forward with the left hand. Ease off. And again. Ease off. One more. And now switch. Place the stick at 9 o'clock. Hand is about eyeball forehead level. Step back with the left foot. Give me 30% tension, pushing that stick into the floor. Pull that left arm back. Sink forward onto the right leg. Your left leg is going straight. And now reach forward with the right hand. Breathe. 2 more. We're opening up the chest right now. 1 more. And relax. Okay. And now, let's get the spine warmed up. Place the stick behind your back. Make sure it's across the low back too. So right above the tailbone area. We don't want it too high, so make sure it's a little lower. From this position, we're going to go into our hinge pattern because we want to lock the hips into place. So we're going to sink back into the hinge. Remember, you're pushing your butt straight back, keeping your back nice and flat. From here, keep your head looking straight ahead at 12 o'clock. So fix your gaze on a certain point. Do not take your eyes off of that. From here, take the right end of the stick and simply pull it forward towards the floor. Now, the left. Remember, you're not turning your head And in this hinge position, we can keep those hips in place. So now we're getting that thoracic spine to open up. Breathe. Right. Left. One more. Right. Left. Back to center. And relax. That's good. So, now we got joints moving. We've got them mobilized. Let's get our strength training in. First thing we're going to do, grab that pad or a little couch cushion, whatever you have available, and we're going to go into a half kneeling position. If you have really bad knees and you can't get on the ground, I'll demo for you really quickly how we do this from the standing position. From the standing position, I'm just going to set up, feet close together, stick is at 12 o'clock, hands are going to be about sternum level. I'm going to step back with one foot. So if I were doing the right knee on the floor, you're going to step back with the right knee, and then you'll just drop down like an elevator. And you're going to go to where you feel comfortable, okay? For the rest of you, go ahead, grab that pad, go into that half kneeling position. Check the position of your lower leg bone. We're trying to hit the anterior tissue line, so we don't want that leg tucked behind us, and we're going to hit that medial tissue line more. So we want that lower leg bone to be in line with your upper leg bone. Stick is a 12 o'clock position. When we're in the half kneeling position, your hands are going to be about chin level right now. Push the stick into the floor, about 60% tension. Push. As you do that, you're going to feel your deep front line activating. Make sure your head is stacked over your shoulders, and your shoulders are stacked over your hips, and your hip is stacked over your knee. Push. Give me 70% tension. Push a little harder. Build to 80, and now hover the back knee just barely off the floor. Breathe. Remember, in a lunge position, we want equal weight. We want that back leg activated. Breathe. Still pushing 80%. Now lift the stick and hold. Breathe. Stick down and relax. So a difference between a lunge and a split squat. On the split squat, 90% of your weight is on that front leg. In a lunge, we want more load on that back leg. Let's switch sides and we'll come back to that other side. Left knee down, right leg in front. Check the position of your lower leg bone. Hands are stacked about chin level. Push the sticks into the floor, about 60% tension. Breathe, push. Squeeze that left glute right now. Shorten this line, shorten the red line that we talked about from the pubis bone to the sternum. Give me 70% tension. Build to 80. And now hover. Breathe. You're still pushing that stick into the floor. 80% tension, folks. Breathe. And now lift. Hold that position. And relax. Let's go back to the right side. We'll do this one more time. Check your leg position. Switch hands. Make sure you're alternating hand position on top. Let's go 70%. Push. Breathe. Keep the ribs connected to the hips. Build to 80% tension. And now hover. 1 inch off the floor. Breathe. Full inhale, full exhale. Keep your torso upright, so you should be folding forward. And now hover. That back leg should be talking to you right now. And relax. Switch sides again. Left leg, right leg in front. Left knee down. Switch hand position. And begin. Give me 70% tension. Push. Build to 80. And hover. Breathe. And now lift that stick. Hold. Breathe. And relax. Nice. So there's a little lunging this morning for you. Now, let's work that single leg RDL. I'll take a little bit of an off angle so you can see what my hips are doing right now. You're going to bring your feet close together, about an inch apart, 2 inches apart. We're going to place the stick at 11 o'clock. So think about it. If this is 12, this is 11. Hand is going to be about sternum level, so your left hand is sternum level. Bottom of the stick is slightly angled towards you. Push the stick into the floor, about 50% tension, and bring your left hip up into flexion. So as we're having this left hip in flexion, I want you to think about driving that right leg as hard as you can into the floor. Just drive that right leg down. You're going to feel that right glute contracting, and you're going to feel that right hip in extension. And now hinge. Set your hip backwards, so you're pushing your right butt cheek backwards. You're driving that left heel straight back. Breathe. You're keeping the ribs and hips connected right now. Breathe. So we're going to spend some time on this leg because a lot of people don't like to spend time on a single leg. Come up. Back in that split stance. And again. Breathe. Full inhale, full exhale. Lengthen that back leg. You're trying to push that left heel back towards the wall behind you. Come back up. And one more. Here we go. Breathe. Internally rotate that left femur towards the floor. Your backside should be pretty level. So we don't want to see this. So you can place your left hand back there to feel if it's level, or your right hand, sorry. From here, let's try to hover that stick. Breathe. Hold that stick off the floor. Left stick down, and come back up. Let's switch sides. Feet about an inch apart. Stick is at 1 o'clock this time. Bottom of the stick slightly angled towards you. Hand is about sternum level. Give me 50% tension pushing that stick into the floor. Bring your right hip up into flexion. You're driving that left leg straight down into the floor. Push. You should feel that left glute contracting. And now hinge. Breathe. Full inhale, full exhale. Drive back up. Rep 2. Reach. Soft angle at this left knee. So remember, you're pushing the left butt cheek backwards. You're driving that right heel backwards. Come back up. And third rep. Here we go. Reach. Push, 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 push. Breathe. Full inhale, full exhale. And now lift that stick. Hold. Breathe. Right stick down. Drive back up. Nice. Whew. Let's get you going. Let me just check your heart rate. It might be up a little bit right now. Now, the next thing we're going to do is a little pushing and pulling. So just because you don't have dumbbells or any weights doesn't mean that you can't do your pressing and pushing up top. Simply just pull apart and shorten on the stick. When I tell you to pull apart on the stick, if it's a 6-foot stick, you're trying to pull it apart. Imagine you're trying to make it 6.5 feet in length. If I tell you to shorten the stick, it's the opposite. You're trying to make that 6-foot stick about 5.5 feet. We're going to take that hinge position. Set your feet about a little wider than hip width apart. Arms are straight down in front of you. Your hands should be about shoulder width apart right now also. Head is about neutral position. So look right about 10 feet out in front of you. At 70% tension, pull apart on that stick. Remember, your hands aren't sliding. You're simply pulling apart on the stick. You're going to feel your lats really engage. Keep pulling apart on that stick, and now row. Pull that stick in towards your sternum or a little underneath. You should feel your scapula retracting and meeting at the midpoint of your spine. And now keep pulling apart on the stick as you release the stick back down. That's 70% tension. Relax. Now let's go 80. Ready? Pull. Nice and slow. Breathe. Squeeze and hold. Keep pulling apart 80% as you bring the arms back down. Ease off. One more rep. Ready? Pull. You're pulling apart 80% tension. Some of you may be going 90. That's perfectly fine. And relax. So there's a bent over row for you. Now, we're going to do a chest press. We're going to do it standing. Might seem a little weird, huh? So now what we're going to do is we're going to shorten the stick. You're going to shorten it, and just like a power lifter, once you shorten it, you're going to try to break the stick. So when I say breaking the stick, you're going to imagine that you're trying to push the middle of the stick forward. And that's going to create all that torque in that anterior arm line to get the chest activated. Horse stance. We're going to take our feet nice and wide. Drop the butt down about 2 inches. Head up. Hands about shoulder width apart. Bring the stick into the sternum. From here, shorten the stick. About 70% tension, and now try to break the stick. You should feel your lats engage, and now slowly extend the arms. Remember, you're trying to shorten and break the stick the entire time. When you get to that extended position, pull apart on the stick. So we're trying to lengthen the stick again. Pull it in towards that starting point, right about where the sternum is. And now again, shorten the stick. Let's go about 80%. Try to break it and extend the arms. Pull. Bring your stick back in. One more. Push. Try to break that stick. Shorten it. Extend those arms out. Pull. 80%. Try to pull that stick apart. Bring it back in. And relax. And now we're going to give you one little dead bug activation so that we can get that deep front line and core. So we're going to go onto the floor. If you have problems getting onto the floor, go ahead and use a bench, and that'll help alleviate that issue. Or even if you have a couch, you can lay down on a couch, just place the stick lengthwise as opposed to across the legs. From here, we want both hips at 90 degrees. We want the legs to be in line also. Place the stick parallel to the floor across your quads. We're going to imagine that we have a little marshmallow under the small of your back. Give that little marshmallow a little squish with the small of your back. When you do that, you're going to feel your deep front line activate. Now, at 70% tension, push the stick into the legs. And you're going to feel those anterior hip tissues reflexively push back. Build to 80% tension. Push harder. Build to 90. Remember, you're still squishing that marshmallow. And relax. Take a couple seconds, and we're going to do another set. Ready? Here we go. Hips at 90 degrees. Squish that little marshmallow, and now push that stick into the legs at 70% tension. Build to 80. Hover your head just 1 inch off the floor. So tuck your chin just slightly. Breathe. Full inhale, full exhale. Push to 90. and relax. And now we're going to give you one more. Take a few seconds. Here we go. Hips at 90 degrees. Squish that little marshmallow. Push the stick into the legs, a 70% tension. Tuck your chin, lift your head just barely off the floor. Build to 80. Build to 90%. Push harder. And now extend the right leg. Only extend it as long as you can keep it in contact with the stick. Slowly bring the right leg down. And now the left leg. Remember, 90% tension. Push. Left leg down. And relax. Ooh, I'm sweating a little bit, huh? Now, let's down regulate and let's get into some stretching. So this is what we call the couch stretch. For many of you, you won't have that range of motion in the anterior tissues, so don't go as high up. For a lot of you, start down here at a lower angle because it's less stress on these tissues. So if you're starting in that half kneeling position on the ground, this is your setup. Your ankle is extended, your hip is in alignment, so it's in neutral position. You can't see my back foot right now, okay? For others, if you have that range of motion, you can place the top of your foot up on your couch or a chair. Once again, make sure the upper and lower leg bones are stacked. Place the stick in line with your right leg and move the bottom of the stick about 2 feet in front of you. Angle the top of the stick back towards you and reach up with that right hand. Take that left hand, reach across and grab the stick right about where the sticker is. Push the stick into the floor at about 30% tension with the right hand. Remember, light tension because now we're stretching. Take the top of the right foot and at about 30% tension, push it down into the top of the couch or the chair. Breathe. As you do that, you're going to really feel that light up this anterior tissue. Squeeze that right glute and give me a little posterior pelvic tuck. Remember what we're doing. Posterior pelvic tuck, you're trying to shorten that little red line from your pubis area to your sternum. Breathe. Nice, slow breaths. Ease off tension. And we're going to go again. Push the stick into the floor with the right hand, 30% tension. Push the top of the left foot into the floor, or right foot into the top of the couch at 30%. Breathe. Light posterior pelvic tuck. Squeeze that right glute. Breathe. Full inhale, full exhale. You're really feeling all this anterior tissue start to open up. Ease off. Now reach up a little bit higher with that right hand. You should get a little bit more length now. One more time. Here we go. Push the stick into the floor, about 30% tension. Push the top of the right foot into the top of the couch or the chair or the floor. Squeeze that right glute. Give me a posterior pelvic tuck. Breathe. Remember, stay out of the low back, stay out of the lumbar spine, so we don't want to see any of this. And relax. Let's switch legs. And as soon as you go to switch legs, you're going to feel which anterior tissue line isn't as good as the other. Same thing, so the stick is in line with your left quad. Move the stick about 2 feet out in front and angle the top of the stick in towards you. Reach up with that left hand, grab the stick. Right hand comes across sternum level. 30% tension, push the left hand with the stick into the floor. Push the top of the left foot into the couch or the chair or the floor. Squeeze that left glute and give me a posterior pelvic tuck. Breathe. Ease off, and again, 30% tension with the left hand, 30% tension with the top of the left foot. Squeeze that left glute, give me a posterior pelvic tuck. Breathe. Ease off, reach up with that left hand a little bit higher. Here we go, ready? Push. 30% tension with that left hand, top of the left foot, squeeze that left glute, give me a posterior pelvic tuck. Remember, stay out of the lumbar spine, don't get into that low back. Breathe. This is a great one since we're confined at home, just doing a little bit more sitting maybe than normal. Let's open up those anterior tissues and relax. Okay, now, let's get those hammies, all right? We're going to set our feet about 3 or 4 inches apart. We're going to place the stick on top against the right shoulder, right chest area. Grab the stick, overhand grip, and simply just slide your right heel forward. Doesn't have to go that far forward, just a little bit. Basically in front of your left toe line. From here, push the stick into the floor, about 30% tension, pushing straight down, and hinge. So you're lowering your sternum towards the floor and pushing your butt backwards. Walk your hands down, not too far. This isn't about seeing how far we can walk the hands down. As soon as you feel that stretch on that hamstring, you don't have to go any farther. Make sure your back is flat. Breathe. Now, 30% tension, push that right heel into the floor. You're going to feel that right hamstring just light right up. Breathe. And now externally rotate that right leg. Internally rotate the right leg. You're going to start to hit lateral and medial heads of the hamstring. We don't want to hit just one angle. Remember, you're still pushing that heel into the floor. Breathe. Back to center and walk back up. Let's switch sides. Left chest. Slide that left heel forward. Stack the hands. Push the stick into the floor about 30% tension and hinge. Sink that sternum down towards the floor. Push your right butt cheek backwards. Lower the hands down the stick, keeping your back flat. As soon as you feel that stretch on that hamstring, go ahead and stop. You don't need to go any farther. Push that left heel into the floor, about 30% tension. Breathe. And now externally rotate, internally rotate. Try to make sure that the right hip stays still, so we don't want this right hip moving around side to side. We just want the movement being sourced from your left hip, where the femur or the upper leg bone goes and meets the hip socket. Breathe. One more. Back to center and walk it up. Nice. Next thing we're going to do is a ninja flow. Take your feet nice and wide. We're going to place the stick against the left instep. Your hand is just about top of the head level. Give me 30% tension, pushing that stick into the floor, and now hinge. Sink your chest down towards the floor. You're going to feel that stretch to the anterior left arm line. Breathe. Now reach across and grab the stick with the thumbs down grip. And now lunge to your right leg. Shifting all that weight, pushing that left leg into the floor. And now lunge to your left leg. Driving that right foot into the floor to lengthen this right adductor. Lunge back to the right. You're going to start to feel that thoracic rotation increase a little bit more through that left rib cage, left chest, left shoulder area. Lunge to the left leg. And try to sink into it just a smidge bit more, just a little bit. Even if that's just another quarter inch or another millimeter, a couple millimeters. Breathe. One more. Back to center and ease out. Let's switch sides. Stick is against the right instep. Hand is just about top of the head level. Give me 30% tension, pushing the stick to the floor and hinge. Sink that chest straight down towards the floor. Breathe. Full inhale, full exhale. Take that left hand, reach across with a thumbs down grip. And now lunge to your left leg. And you're going to be able to sink into one side a little bit better than the other based off your movement patterns. Lunge to your right leg. Push that left foot into the floor. Open up this left adductor. Back to your left leg. Breathe. Back to your right. Back to your left. Back to your right. Back to center and ease off. And let's finish off with our signature bow and arrow. We're going to set our feet about hip width apart. Stick is going to be at 3 o'clock. Move that stick about 8 to 10 inches away from your midfoot. We're going to grab with our right hand right above where the sticker is. Like earlier when we did the reverse bow and arrow, hips must stay facing forward. So if you were Dr. Evil and you had 2 laser beams on your hip bones, those bad boys should be pointing forward. We wouldn't want those laser beams rotating. All right? Take your left hand, reach over the top, and now push your hip away first. There's your passive stretch. Now, take that stick and push it in the opposite direction. We're trying to make sure both arms are straight. So we want to lengthen that top arm. We're reflexively pulling with the top arm, not actively. Breathe. Your legs should be straight. Ribs stay to hips. Ease off. And now to preserve the life of your stick, rotate the stick slightly between flexions. Push your hip out first, and now push the arms away second. Remember, it's never our intent to see how far we can flex the stick. The flex of the stick is there to add energy to the kinetic chain as you're going through these movements. Breathe. Ease off tension. One more time. Rotate the stick slightly. Push your hips out, and now push the stick away from you. Full inhale, full exhale. We're holding this a little bit longer. Breathe. Ease off tension. And now let's switch sides. Stick is at 9 o'clock, about 8 to 10 inches away from your midfoot. Grab right above where the sticker is with your left hand. Reach over the top with your right. Push your hips out to 3 o'clock first, and then drive the stick away from you with the left arm. Breathe. Legs straight. Let your head tilt also. Some people like to keep their head up. That head needs to tilt. That's part of your lateral line. Breathe. Ease off tension. Rotate the stick slightly. And again, push your hip out first, then push your left arm away from you. Your right arm is reflexively pulling. It is not actively pulling, just reflexively pulling. Full inhale, full exhale. Ease off. Last one, folks. Rotate the stick slightly. Push your hip out. Reach. Full inhale, full exhale. Ribs to hips. Hips stay centered. They stay square to 12 o'clock. Breathe. Let the head tilt. Ease off. And relax. That's the end of today's session. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. This workout will be available for you to reference back to at any time. We'll make sure that that's taken care of for you. We are uploading a new workout, another half-hour session from Coach Ray Bailey. That'll be going up on YouTube. So check our YouTube TV for that workout to be posted. And let's make an appointment to meet back here on Tuesday morning, same time, 9 a.m. Pacific time, noon Eastern time. Until then, everybody stay healthy, stay active, be well, be good to each other. Peace.